Well, good morning, everybody. It's Jeff Slakey and Spencer Hughes on the Daybreak Show. We are conducting our candidate conversations, and I've reached out to all the folks in the 35th District that are running for both positions 1 and positions 2. I'm going to have all those interviews available later for everybody to check out and get a better chance to meet the candidates. Right now, we're going to have a chance to talk with Earl Burt, who is running for the 35th Legislative District in position 2. Now, the top 2 will move on in the primary to the general election in November. First things first, Earl. Hi, how are you?
Hi, Jeff. I'm doing great. Nervous as heck, but that's all right.
Well, thanks for coming in, and it's a little different here in studio as we're all masked up and
Yep.
conversating now, but it's kind of the times we're in. First things first, tell me a little bit about yourself.
I'm an old guy, old white guy. I retired from the shipyard in Puget Sound Naval Shipyard. I went to school at Gonzaga. I was born and raised in Montana, and I have never been in politics in my life.
Well, then I guess that leads to the next question. Why did you decide to run?
Too much information. I read articles about the pandemic in 1918. A few years ago, I saw what was happening in March of this year, and the misinformation coming from the White House and how it was affecting and the people's lives. And I said, I've had enough. And the mistrust coming to the public was going to hurt people, and it has, and it's continuing. And when I saw that and heard that, I asked my wife if I could, run. She said, sure. So first part of May, I'm typing up the forms online to the Secretary of State. And my wife says, what are you doing? And I said, I'm applying. Remember when our conversation was back in March?
Uh-huh.
And she says, oh, yeah, I didn't think you'd run. And I go, oh, geez, okay. So she paused and she said, well, I guess I'll have to buy a new dress. So anyway, I got involved. I'm involved. I want people to be safe.
You're listed as the Shortstop Party, which may be a new title there as a political party for folks. Tell us about that.
Yes. It's something I made up. I was helping my in-laws down in Oregon. I was shoveling snow. My mother-in-law called an ambulance one day, and the ambulance got stuck. Ranchers had to come and unstuck the ambulance to get my father-in-law to the hospital. I heard about that, and I moved down to Oregon, lived in a trailer. The extension cord kept me alive at 9 below. And while I wasn't shoveling snow, I was bored out of my mind, and so I started writing letters to the editor, Burns Times-Herald, Randy Parks. And I saw what was happening in Washington, D.C. There was so much polarization. During this time, the Republican House would, 40 to 60 times, they would cancel or try to cancel the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare as a nickname. And then the Senate, which was run by the Democrats, would veto it down or not pass it 60 times. And I saw that there was no, compromise. I mean, all this time spent not working on the bill to correct it, but trying to destroy it. What are these guys doing? Or what are these people doing? And I said, I wrote a letter to the Burns Times-Herald inventing the Shortstop Party. If you're so far like a shortstop, a metaphor, if the shortstop is too close to third base, he can't make the play at second. Likewise, if he's too close to second, he can't make the play at third. So these ideologies were so far apart, they couldn't even get to the middle to compromise. So I said, hell, I'll build the Shortstop Party. And for compromise, I'm already in the middle. I can go left and right depending on the issues. And I can come back to the moderate position.
Well, if you are elected into the second position in the 35th District, what will your priorities that you'd like to push forth?
The very first priority is to keep people safe. And I wrote that in my pamphlet. I want people to stay alive. The Declaration of Independence says inalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Those guys wrote those three words or those three ideas in a very specific order. You need to be alive in order to have liberty and to pursue happy. If you're dead, liberty doesn't count, nor does chasing happy. So what I want is people to stay alive. Yes, you can go back to school when the pandemic is over. You can start out and say, you know, let's just put everything on pause. And if you're going into the first grade this year, a year from now, you'll go into first grade. Just put everything on pause. People are losing their jobs, losing their income, losing their lives. So my focus is to keep people alive. We can't have our budget for the state is just destroyed, and it will continue to be destroyed by actions of people. If you use the pronouns I and me, and not use the pronouns we and us, the I and me will let the pandemic win. The we and us, we can win, and we can survive. As an example, I only have one set of signs in the back of my truck about this I and me stuff. I've waved to thousands and thousands of people, cars, here in Kitsap and Mason and Thurston County in the 35th District. And what have I seen? I've seen people with their cell phones in their ear. There's an attitude in this country that says, oh, that rule applies to everybody else, but you know what? It does not apply to me. And so people say, okay, I'm going to use my cell phone. The people in the same context with this COVID, you know, the masks apply to somebody else. The social distancing applies to somebody else. The washing of hands, the sanitation, oh, that's somebody else's problem. But what's happening is that attitude is killing us. People are out of jobs because of that attitude. The schools are closed because of that attitude. People in rest homes and home care, they're dying because of that attitude. You look at, what's the guy's name? Brian Kemp out of Georgia. He says, oh, we're not mandating face masks. Oh, you don't have to do it. This is not a problem. President Trump said, you know, we don't have a problem. We have plenty of face masks. We have plenty of test kits. This is a hoax. It'll be over by Easter. Technical foul. You cannot do that. And these games that people are playing and not using the pronouns of we and us rather than the pronouns I and me are killing us, killing the economy. I'm sorry. I got. You know, you pushed a button, Jeff.
You talk a lot about the economy and the budget in the state. So what do you think some of the big challenges are into the next legislative session to try to square this thing?
It's a domino. You know how you set up dominoes? Put them on edge, and then you push the first domino and they go, brrr. All right. The first domino is COVID. The second domino is people are afraid. The third domino is they don't want to go to the restaurant or the restaurant is closed. The fourth domino is that the restaurant is closed or they have reduced work and they're closed down and there's nobody making money. Now there's unemployment. The next domino is unemployment. And because nobody's got money and nobody's spending money, it's the third domino. And what happens? How do we get our money? We get our money by sales tax, either through all the different things we buy and sell, plane tickets, football tickets, going to a motel, going to a theater, going to whatever. It's sales tax. So you got all these dominoes lined up. And the bottom one is the budget for the state of Washington. Again, the COVID has, it's the first domino. Solve that. We can't solve it. We can only react. We can wear our masks, we can social distance, and we can wash our hands. There's no vaccine yet. And until that vaccine comes, we're toast. What we only have is to react. And to do those things that are mitigating. But if we don't do those, our budget is toast. And the budget will remain toast until we get there, until people have money to spend, and as sales taxes, we can start getting the revenue coming in.
It's a long set of dominoes there.
I'm sorry. Maybe we could have a domino game. I don't know. Are you any good at it?
Not really.
No.
It's Earl Burt. He is running in the 35th district for the legislative district for the great state of Washington in the House of Representatives. Position 2. Ballots are out now. The top 2 move on in this race to represent voters in the 35th. And again, this is a continuation of our candidate conversations. And again, we've been talking with Earl Burt. Earl, thanks for spending some time with us today and talking with us and letting us get a chance to know you.
Absolutely. I think I got kind of wired up there. I apologize. I'll calm down now. Thank you.
It shows a good passion.
I have passion, yes.
Thank you very much.
One thing
Yes.
I'd like everybody to please be careful. Please be safe. Think of the COVID. It doesn't care who you are, what color of politics, what kind of religion or anything. It is a deadly disease and it will kill you. Please be careful. Thank you.